Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today we have 3 brand new eyeshadow palettes from Dior. We're going to test them out, we're going to swatch them, we're going to do all the fun things. And I'm going to let you know my honest opinion. If you've watched my latest Dior review, you know that I wasn't the biggest fan of their eyeshadow formula. But stay tuned to find out if Dior has redeemed itself, in my very, very humble opinion. I hope you stick around for that. Thank you so much for being here. And if you'd like to join our growing community of beauty lovers and friends, I would seriously love to have you. We have a lot of fun releases coming up, and I would not want you to miss out on a single one. So please stay tuned, and let's get this party started. So let's get into these beauties from Dior. These are the Diorshow 5 Couleurs Palette Limited Edition Eyeshadow Palettes, and I picked up 3 of them. This is Midnight Lamé. So this sold out on the Dior website, but I believe currently at the time of filming, it's available on Ulta's website and Nordstrom. I will link those all down below. Then number 563, Brown Brocart. Hope I'm pronouncing these correctly. Beautiful, more of a neutral, warm color story. And then this one I'm probably most excited for. This is the Lilac Tulle, number 964. So just a very beautiful arrangement of colors for the spring, which I think we are all ready for. For myself, I cannot wait for the warmer weather. Let me know in the comments down below if you've been enjoying this winter. I have not at all. That's okay. Spring is coming. That's the most important thing. Now, if you saw my last Dior review of the Spring 2026 collection, which was a bubblegum eyeshadow palette and a mint eyeshadow palette, wasn't my favorite. If you've seen that, you know what I'm talking about. I just didn't like the fact that I had no pigment. I really was not impressed, but I'm very excited to try this formula because this is a different formula from Dior. For lack of a better term, these are the Cannage palettes because of the outside packaging, which is absolutely stunning. So unofficially, they're called the Cannage or Cannage palettes. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but this is a different formula. I believe it's supposed to be more creamy, more pigmented. So we're going to swatch this now. Okay, looking very promising off the bat. I'm doing 2 swipes of each shade so you can see how they build up. Oh, that's pretty. So this is Midnight Lamé. So it's that beautiful blue eyeshadow color story. And then we have this beauty right here. So this is the Brown Brocart color story. This one I'm most excited for. This is that beautiful lilac color story. So pretty. I'm interested to see how these colors are played together, but they're absolutely stunning. Okay, so I just went in with the Lisa Eldridge Page eyeshadow. I will link it down below. I've been loving this as a primer shade. Absolutely stunning. Just so pretty. Just flawless under eyeshadow. This is the Liquid Silk Liquid Eyeshadow in the shade Page. So I will link this down below. I've been loving this lately. Definitely on repeat. First, I want to play with this one because I want to get a feel for the formula. I never had this formula from Dior, so I'm excited to play around with it. Okay, and just taking a reference number 1 brush and going in with this shade right here all over the lid. See how that builds up. Okay, so definitely a lot creamier than the spring collection that was released the day after Christmas. Okay, so not a ton of pigment, but definitely some. And now I'm taking a Refer 14 brush and just going to the shade right here. And just going into the outer corner and the crease. Okay, and I'm just taking a Refer shadow number 3. And I'm going to go in, let's see, to this shade right here and put that kind of in the crease. Okay, and then taking the other side of the shadow brush and just going into this middle shade right here. I should actually point to it when I'm talking about it. The middle shade. And then just taking a Nicola Rose N24 brush and going to the lightest shade right here. And just going into the corner. That's pretty. Now, if this was the only look I was doing for this video, I would use the darker shade to, use it as an eyeliner on the bottom. But I'll have to take this look off to do the final look. So I'm not going to do that right now. I think this shade in particular, if you're looking at the palette like this shade is really a standout shade. I'm also just taking this shade right here and just putting under the brow. Okay, so it's nice, but I'm not that wowed by this color story. It's fine, but it's not wowing me. I don't think this is anything particularly special, which is unfortunate because I really want to like these eyeshadows. I really do. It's fine for a neutral palette, but it's nothing to write home about, as we say. So that's a little disappointing. My socks are not blown off by that color story. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So my other makeup loving eyelid is primed with the Lisa Eldridge Solo Shadow. Now we're going to play around with this beautiful blue color story, which I hope doesn't leave me blue. Ah, I know you're laughing at home. I can hear it. Okay, so just taking the Rose N22 brush and going into the deepest shade, so the shade right here, patting it off on the back of my hand. It was a little too precise. Okay, taking a Merit brush, just buffing that out a little bit. Okay, it's pretty. So right off the bat, this palette definitely has more pigment than the last Dior release, which is encouraging. Now taking a Rephr Shoto Zero brush and going right here to that color. Taking the other side of the brush and going to this bold blue shade, tapping off on the back of my hand a little bit, and just kind of putting it in the middle there. May go back and later and use my hand just so I can get a more impactful application. And then I'm taking this shade right here with my finger, just popping that into the inner corner. That's pretty. That's very pretty, actually. Oh, pretty. That's beautiful. Just going a little bit above the crease. Like that. Take another Nikki Rose N22 brush, taking this silver shade right here in the middle and just popping it into the inner corner. Oh, very nice. And also going under the brow a little bit for a little highlight. And then just taking my Nikki Rose N23 brush, this one right here. Just doing a little hint of that blue under the eye. Okay, so that color story is beautiful. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of these looks? I think they are pretty. I especially love the blue one. I think that's really special. But if we're being honest, friends, you and me, it's still a little powdery for my preference. I've heard such good things about this formula that I thought that I would be blown away by it. But I'm going to try on the next look. I'm going to remove these looks from my makeup loving eyes. And then I'm going to try the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer and see if maybe that works better with these shadows. Maybe the Lisa Eldridge is not vibing with those, as the kids say. I think maybe also I'm holding these to a higher standard because it's almost like the Dior eyeshadows are like an ex-boyfriend and they've let me down a couple times now. And now they're coming back, asking to be back in my life. I'm not sure if I'm ready for that. I'm not sure if they're living up to the standards that I'm hoping they will meet. So I don't know if I'm holding them to too high of a standard like that ex-boyfriend or if I'm just being realistic and honest with myself. So I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm going to try the different primer on the final look. But they're not bad. They're much, much better than the spring collection. I just don't know if I'm like, wow, I need to have these again. You see this look you could probably do if you have a neutral eyeshadow palette in your collection. And this shadow, to me, the Chanel Denim collection was better. That's just my personal opinion. But we're going to take these off. I'm going to try it with the other eyeshadow primer. And we will give this ex-boyfriend of mine another chance. So my makeup loving eyes have been primed with the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer. We're going to see if that makes a difference with this formula. So I'm going to take this beautiful lilac shade right here and taking a Rephr number 2. And just putting that all over the lid. Okay, let's go on the other lid. That's a pretty one and done shade if you're wearing purple like myself. Now taking a Rephr Shadow Zero brush, just using that to get a little bit of definition on the outer corner there. Let me know in the comments down below if you like this formula from Dior. I really want to like this formula. I want to like the Dior eyeshadows because I'm such a fan of Dior and Dior Beauty. I'm going to apply this sparkly shade in the middle, kind of just all over the lid just to give it a little bit of more sparkle. What I'm also not crazy about is you see how this is hard panning so quickly? See that? Let me know in the comments down below if maybe I'm just missing the memo on these shadows. Maybe I'm just not applying them the right way, but they're just very, very dusty feeling. But this is a beautiful color story. I do like this one. I'm going to take this red shade. I'm going to try to apply it on top as an eyeliner. So this palette I am loving. I think it's a lot of fun for the spring. It's pretty unique. And I think actually using the Urban Decay primer was better for this formula. That is pretty. I like this one. Okay, so I think there's 2 factors at play here. One, I'm holding these to a higher standard because they are almost like that ex-boyfriend that I'm thinking about letting back into my life. 2, I think the eyeshadow primer made a difference. I think using the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer was much better. 3, I think I prefer a creamier eyeshadow formula, and that's fine. And some people prefer a more powdery eyeshadow formula, and that's fine too. I mean, some of you may love apples, some may love bananas. I love neither. I love tacos, but that is what we call balance in life, right? That is why we have a diverse range of opinions. How boring would it be if we all loved guacamole? Actually, I do love guacamole. I don't know anybody who doesn't. Guacamole is kind of like the grand unifier of us all. Who doesn't love guacamole? But anyway, you get my point. My point is that we all have different preferences. This palette in particular, I think, is beautiful. Let me show you up close. This is definitely my favorite out of all the palettes, but I'm starting to think that the Dior eyeshadow formula is just not my favorite, and that's fine. I think this is a very big improvement from the spring collection that was released on December 26th, 2025. Yes, December 26th. I think it is an improvement. I like this a lot better. However, if I was reaching for an eyeshadow palette for my day, would this formula be my top choice? No. But again, tacos, bananas. You may love it. I wish I could say I love both, but bananas, I mean, on a good day, maybe a nice banana. I have to really be in the mood. Let me think of another fruit that I really don't like. See, cherries, I'm not really a big fan of. Grapes, I love grapes. Plums are not my favorite either. What fruits do I like? I like more tacos. Any kind of Mexican food I'm for. Birria tacos. Oh, I love birria tacos. Do you like birria tacos? Chicken tacos, chicken burritos, chips and guac, salsa. Anyway, my point is, you may love bananas. I love tacos. Bananas, not my thing. But not saying they're bad, just not my preference. So let me throw on some mascara and then we'll talk about final thoughts, what's coming up on my channel, and all of that good stuff. Okay, so I'm going to use this Dior mascara, which I do love. This is the Diorshow Over Volume Mascara. Now, as part of this release, Dior also released a waterproof version of this. Since I already have this mascara, I didn't buy the waterproof. They also released some mascaras in some different colors. I Didn't buy any because they were a little bit bold for my liking, but I will link those down below in case you're interested. But this is a great mascara if you're looking for volume. See? It's a really great mascara. So it's a very dramatic mascara. The Lilac Tulle, I think it is beautiful. It's just that this formula is not my all-time favorite. I think Chanel has a little bit of a better formula, even though Chanel is also a little bit more on the powdery side. For me, it's a little bit more to my liking. The Dior, it's pretty. It's just not my go-to type of eyeshadow, but that's okay. Again, bananas, tacos. Okay, so let's look up close together. See that mascara? It's like, yeah, it means business. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the final look. If I had to pick any of these palettes, I would definitely go with this one right here. I think it's the most fun to play around with. I do see myself using this one. This one, I can't imagine using this very often, but maybe if I just need a really neutral eye to go with a bold lip or something. And the blue, I could see myself using, but now that I have the Chanel Denim, I might go to the Chanel Denim more than this one, but I'll let you know in the future if I do incorporate these into my more everyday life. I think because this formula was so hyped up on social media and everybody talked about how it was, you know, Dior's best formula, maybe my expectations were a little bit too high. I think this definitely is an improvement from their traditional formula, but it's not as creamy as I would like. This is more powdered, but it did have more pigment, and I did really love this one. So I think it's an improvement from my Dior Spring 2026 review from December. Is it my favorite eyeshadow of the year so far? No, but this color story in particular is beautiful, and I would recommend it. And I also just want to quickly talk about my earrings. So these earrings are a new favorite of mine, and the company Mayhem, who I'm sure you've heard of from social media, they kindly sent me these earrings, and I want to thank them because they are absolutely stunning. Look at that. So different, so unique. I have nothing like these in my collection, and I have been drooling over Mayhem's social media page and all people who have been posting about their jewelry for a long time now. So the fact that they sent me a couple of items to wear and play around with, I am very, very grateful and very happy to be wearing them on my channel. So I will link that down below, but I'm absolutely loving these earrings. And thank you to Mayhem for sending them to me. Okay, so we are back from my final thoughts. I'm disappointed. I really wanted to fall in love with this Dior formula because I love Dior Beauty so much. I mean, their bronzer is my favorite, and I've accomplished something that I've never accomplished before. I hit pan on the Dior Jumbo Bronzer. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I'm so proud of myself. So, I love this bronzer. I love their lip oils. This is one of the lip oils that came out recently. This is in the shade number 77, Rosy Candy. So I love their lip oils. I love their lipsticks. I love their skincare. And this I tried today for the first time. This is the J'adore hair mist. I love this. This is just so light, so fresh, so feminine. So I love so many things from Dior. Dior pocketbooks. I wish I could have one of my own, maybe one day. But the Dior Beauty line, I absolutely love. So I'm a little bit disappointed that I couldn't make their eyeshadow one of my favorites, but I'm hopeful. I would say that in the dating world of makeup, the Dior eyeshadows and I, we're taking a break. We're on a break. If you've watched the show Friends, just like Rachel and Ross, we're on a break. So I will see what happens when they release their next eyeshadow line. If I will be buying it, if I'll be trying it, I will let you know. But let me know your thoughts. Do you love this formula? I hope you do. I would love to find a way to make these work. If you have any suggestions on application techniques with this formula, let me know. But again, this eyeshadow palette in particular, the Lilac Tulle, absolutely love the other two. I could probably do without, but this one was special. So thank you so much for watching. We have a lot of exciting things coming up on my channel. I've been trying out a ton of new makeup, the Mary Phillips foundation, the NARS foundation, Patch Talk concealer, a few new lip products. So I have a lot of things coming up on my channel, so stay tuned. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.